Okay, welcome back. There's another 9/11 commemoration video, and it's an extraordinary one. It's a New York family that witnessed the attacks of 9/11. Now, what's extraordinary about this is that the young man, the son of, is a steel worker, is the only member of the family, it seems, that does not believe in the conspiracy. He still is clinging to the "I can't believe that the government did this or would be involved in this" theme, and that's what's kind of extraordinary about this. Is normally you get, in a family you'll get one guy that says, "Oh yeah, there's something wrong," and then of course me and him are left to convince the rest of the family that maybe you ought to listen to your son or your daughter here, but in this case, just the opposite. You had the entire family against him. And I guess what it was with the family was, again, the old adage, it's always hardest to speak to friends and family and convince them of anything than it is a stranger. So here I am, the stranger. That's what I play out there, the stranger that comes along and kind of like validates what they might have to say. So that's a good one. And of course, the routine, I keep repeating it because, I guess it's necessary. If you like this video, you will hit the like button. If you care, you share a lot because we have to overcome the censors. And if you can, you give. Go buy something. I've got a couple of I'm going to be displaying the 9/11 design, which I think is one of my best graphics. It really does spur conversation and gets to the point. 2 planes, 3 buildings, do the math. So you can get that in a t-shirt design or on a print or the back of a cell phone cover or whichever you want to do to go ahead and kind of remind people that, 17 years a lie is just too damn long. So, let's get to it. Let's get back on the streets. What was your experience? Do you have any experience? Have you ever?
I mean, we witnessed this.
You did.
We lived it, and you hear things, about the government being involved in it and all that.
Yeah.
So,
but they had to.
Well, he thinks that that's far-fetched for us to think that they would do that. But I don't think it's far-fetched.
Now, when you say the government, you understand, that's a very monolithic thing. What we're talking about here is elements within the government. It's like when you talk about the CIA, there are going to be good, bad, and the ugly in the CIA, FBI, and every place you go. The fact that it would be impossible for that to be pulled off, the way they say it was. It's impossible.
For what?
Well,
it's impossible.
You're talking about 19 hijackers of box cutters defeating a $1 trillion defense system. I mean, that alone. But physically, what we're looking at here, and you say you're a steel worker? Okay, then you know this. Steel melts in a blast furnace after 2.5 hours at 1,250 degrees. Open fires can at best reach 880 degrees. These fires were burning coal because it's black smoke. And then you have this. As the steel went down, it gets thicker and thicker. Physics says every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if you have this much of the building falling on this is going to crumble as this crumbles. So as it hits more resistance, it's not going to fall in free fall like it did and into a hole and then projectiles out hundreds of yards as it goes. It's not going to do that. That is physically impossible. And then you get to building number 7, which was the 3rd largest structural failure in history, 47 stories tall,
housed all 16 of our intelligence agencies and the mayor's emergency bunker. This thing was a fortress. You could shoot a howitzer into its windows 2 blocks away. You wouldn't crack the windows. It wasn't hit by a damn thing, had some sporadic fires, and at 5:20 in the afternoon, did this in 6 seconds flat. Free fall to the ground. It wasn't even mentioned in the 9/11 report. 3 pools of molten metal were found to be burning under these buildings for 2.5 months. Where did that come from? Forensic analysis of the debris found nanothermite in the debris. Nanothermite is a high-grade military explosive you could paint on the walls and wouldn't know it. They make tape and you can put it on, and it cuts through steel like butter. So again, what made this building fall wasn't even mentioned. $15 billion worth of gold that was in the basement there disappeared and was replaced by molten lead or molten metal.
And nobody says nothing about this?
I just said, no, architects and engineers for 9/11 truth. People that have put their names on the line.
Just say about
They put their names on the line, their reputation, families' lives on the line. Some of them are the best architects and engineers in the world. I've met one of them out here. Now, why would they do that? Why would they sign their name? Why would they sign their name, and ruin their reputations and put their families in life? I talked to an EMT out here that was there that day. She told me this story. She was there that day. Her and her crew were on the way to the Twin Towers. They stopped 2 blocks away to clear some debris and help with some injuries. While they're there, a bomb squad comes up and says, "You do not go any further. You stay right here." I go, whoa. We got work to do. There are injuries up there. We're going to go. You stay right here. While they're standing there discussing why in the hell they can't go any further, the street they were going to go down, the cars started blowing up. Boom, boom, boom. They grabbed their cameras and took pictures of this. That night, the company calls up and says, "Turn in your cameras." They did, but kept the pictures. That shook her up so much she quit, moved down to Florida. I talked to a Israeli couple out here last week. Young Israeli couple. His grandmother lived next to a Muslim family. They were friends. A Muslim family came over with a woman, came over and warned her from going downtown the next day. Said, "Do not go downtown." Wow. There were 4 knowledges.
Let me ask you this though, like realistically, right? If there are, because a lot of people have to be involved to keep it under wraps.
Yes.
You know? How would it that all of them, like, how would it that it wouldn't come out? How is it?
I've asked policemen that were there that day. I says, "You were there that day. You've witnessed things that you know are not true. And why haven't more come forward?" He says, "Some have, but you're threatened with your job, your pension, your family is threatened."
But when 3,000 people die, I got to imagine that there are some people that are willing to put stuff on the line like that.
And they have.
And where are they?
You can, right there, just gave you the paper. And you can go and see, there might be 100 documentaries that you could watch.
That all say the same thing you're saying, I know.
Eyewitnesses. Right now, I watched this just yesterday, there's a lawyers guild right now, a group of lawyers that have looked at the evidence that are going through the courts right now. They're petitioning a public grand jury on the evidence of 9/11. There's just using the basic physics. Not going to the conspiracy. You're doing what I did. Just saying this is how steel melts.
But
this is
steel, like when I burn steel, right? Acetylene or whatever burns it at 2,200 degrees or whatever it is. But if you have a constant heat going on a beam, that thing it does become more brittle.
It does not explain all this down here that was not in flames, and the steel beams got thicker and thicker.
Like the fire can.
And then you're completely forgetting about WTC7. I mean, if you want to see this building come down, I've got it on video right back here. I'd be happy for you to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, he's got the whole setup.
Oh. I live for this.
Us too. We can talk about it all fucking day, believe me.
I live for this.
I mean, if you could say an argument like I would think the arguments such as how does a plane get that close? You know, like if you say something like that, I could definitely see like,
well,
damn,
this
you know,
is
that's
just
great, because how do they get so close?
This is just opening up the door. Once you fall down this rabbit hole, 1,000 more questions open up.
Well, that Michael Moore documentary, you know, that was out a long time now, and you go back and watch that thing, and yeah, there's a lot of things pointed out, like a lot of military things that were going on that day that just so happened.
Now, get this big.
What's that, Tower 7?
Yeah. That's the only damage. That's it. All right, let's go back to the beginning and watch that again.
The complex is on fire and has either collapsed or is collapsing.
Now, there it is. Right? That's it. Oh, get out of here. I don't want you here right now. Get out of here.
Building 7 in the World Trade Center complex is on fire. And
now, I want you to watch this thing collapse.
Is collapsing.
If anybody out there can help,
now, if I didn't tell you,
supplies, the firemen have no food, nothing but snacks. They
crimp, things come down. Watch the crimp, watch the splits. Watch. Crimp, splits, knocking out the beams.
If anybody out
free
there
fall.
can help, any vendors who have
free
food
fall.
Supplies, the firemen have no food, nothing but snacks. They need fluids, they need water, and they need protein
fall.
foods. This is just...
That means the beams come out.
Before what you're about to see again,
what fire? What instability?
Is there a fire in there?
I showed you the fires, those little sporadic fires. But we've seen skyscrapers where, 40 floors were gutted and they still stand. So you tell me, remember, this is free fall, no resistance. Nothing hit that.
And you also have ratings, too, with the stuff they put on the steel to protect it from fire.
But there's there's no fires. You saw the damn damage. Look, this is the damage. Let's go back to the beginning
Of what they're facing. So
you're telling me that these sporadic office fires that can be put out with sprinklers cause that building to collapse and free fall?
Building 7.
At the most, maybe 2 or 3, beams were like weakened. That means it might, there might be there might be some part of the building fall, but it's not going to fall and just straight down
at the World Trade Center.
It's not going to do it. I'm not even an engineer. I know that. I built sandcastles. The wave comes in, hits the damn sandcastle. It doesn't do that.
There's a growing fear that another building in the World Trade Center
but to sit here and say the government did it, and
again, it's a monolithic thing. Who benefited from 9/11? Who benefited from it?
I don't know.
Who benefited from it? If there's a crime, someone's going to benefit it.
Well, yeah, of course.
What's the motive, right?
Don't know.
All right, who benefited? It wasn't the Muslims.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Okay. Who benefited? The military-industrial complex and the national security state have exploded.
How many people died in this building?
Well, that's it.
Or did they get out of that building?
No, there were bodies in. There's a guy named Barry Jennings who was head of security for the World Trade Center. He was late to work. He walks in because in the 27th floor there was an emergency bunker. If anything were to happen, that's where everybody goes. He goes up there. He walks in. And it's empty. It's coffee with the steam coming out. He's eating sandwiches. He's going, what? Gets a phone call. Get out. Now. now, as he's on the way out, the floors below him blow out. Him and another guy bust out a window. The firemen come along and rescue him with a ladder. You can see him on the internet walking down the street in the dust and the blood, talking about stepping over bodies, walking out of there. And he died on his way to testify, mysteriously.
Exactly. Wow.
Look it up.
That's what we
Look
kept
up
telling
Barry Jennings, head of of World Trade Center security.
They'll kill you. That's what we were telling him last night. They will kill you.
If they're going to kill 3,000 people, don't kill 300,000 or 3 million. They don't care.
Right.
This is all about an agenda to keep them in power. Remember, we were going to go into peace dividend. We're going to have peace. We are a war economy.
I have a hard time believing it, even after watching this. But if it's true, man, you're doing the right thing here. Thank you.
All right. Go check out those websites. God bless you. Go check out those websites.
I love that. I love it too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, take a couple of them with you.
Yes.
I'm going to put it on.